What if I told you that a 2,000-year-old Buddhist text held a very practical secret to overcoming the regret and anxiety we all feel today? And what if that secret was wrapped up in this single, mysterious verse delivered by a messenger who didn't even understand it himself? Yeah, let's dive into this amazing story.
So, we're going to unpack a short but really profound text called the Sutra of the Noble One. And the cool thing about it is, it's less of a sermon and way more of a narrative mystery. It's a story about a monk, a celestial visitor, and a verse that promises to unlock true peace, if only someone can figure out what on earth it means.
All right, so our story kicks off in a super remote cave. We've got our main character, a monk named卢耶強耆. He's deep in meditation, totally alone in the world, or, that's what he thinks. All of a sudden, his entire cave just explodes with this brilliant light. And standing there is a deva, a celestial being, something from another realm. I mean, can you imagine the shock? You go from absolute silence and solitude to a divine being just showing up. And this wasn't some random visit. This deva had a very specific reason to be there.
See, the deva didn't just pop in to say hello. He came with a mission. And more importantly, he came with a question that really gets this whole story rolling.
He looks right at the monk and asks him, "Do you know the virtuous and good verse and what it means?" And the monk, being a pretty straightforward guy, just admits, "Nope, no idea what you're talking about, never heard of it." So the deva recites the verse for him, and it's just beautiful, right? It translates to something like, "Do not dwell on the past, nor seek after the future. The past is already extinguished. The future has not yet arrived." It's poetic, it's deep, it's super intriguing. The monk is listening, totally captivated. And then comes the twist.
After saying these incredibly profound lines, the deva makes this just stunning admission. He basically says, "I can say the words, but I honestly have no clue what they really mean." Now think about that for a second. The heavenly messenger doesn't get his own message. This is the moment that turns a simple visit into a full-blown quest.
So the deva tells the monk, "Listen, there's only one person in the entire world who can decode this riddle for you, the Buddha himself." And just like that, the monk has his mission.
So卢耶強耆packs up his stuff, leaves his quiet little cave behind, and starts this long journey. He travels all the way to the city of Śrāvastī, to a place called Jita Grove, which is where the Buddha is teaching. He's got this burning question, this celestial riddle that he just has to get an answer to.
So the monk finally finds the Buddha. He tells him the entire bizarre story, the cave, the deva, this mysterious verse. And the Buddha, he just listens patiently. And then, at long last, he reveals the meaning.
Okay, so the Buddha breaks it down starting with that first line about the past. He explains that not dwelling doesn't mean you get amnesia. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about not getting stuck there. You know that feeling when you replay a memory over and over, attaching all this pleasure or regret to it? That's the trap. That's what dwelling is.
And what is it that we're actually clinging to? Well, the Buddha says it's the basic building blocks of any experience. Our physical body and sensations, our feelings, how we perceive things, our mental habits, and just consciousness itself. These are like the little hooks our mind latches onto, either trapping us in the past or yanking us into the future.
Then he moves on to the future, and it's the same idea. Not seeking the future doesn't mean you shouldn't have goals or make plans. Of course not. It means you shouldn't live in a constant state of anxious craving for something that isn't even here yet. It's that attachment to a specific outcome that creates all our worry and pulls us out of the only place we can actually live.
And that leads to the big reveal, the solution to the whole riddle, the present moment. The entire verse is a guide for how to observe reality as it's actually happening, right now. It's about being stable and clear, not being yanked around by regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. This, right here, is the heart of the whole teaching.
Okay, so this is all a really fascinating story, but how does a 2,000-year-old teaching actually apply to our modern lives, filled with notifications and deadlines and everything else? Well, the connection is actually surprisingly direct.
This chart really connects all the dots for us. That ancient problem of dwelling on the past, that's exactly what we call regret, or getting lost in nostalgia. The problem of seeking the future, well, that's just modern anxiety and worry, isn't it? And the Sutra's solution is this incredibly powerful mindset shift. Observe the past without letting it eat you alive, prepare for the future without desperately craving it, and just engage with what's right in front of you with focus and clarity.
And this brings us full circle, right back to the name of the verse itself, the virtuous and good verse. The Buddha explains that this practice, this awareness, is what actually makes a day, and eventually a life, virtuous, good, or noble. It's not about being perfect, it's about living with quality and intention, one present moment at a time. So, the teaching really leaves us with this powerful idea: you can literally transform your entire life by just focusing on having one noble day. It's a practice, not some far-off destination. Which brings me to a final question for you to think about. If you were to apply this wisdom today, right now, what would your noble day look like?